everybody, to another episode of the What Are You Nerdy About podcast here at Nerdstalgia. And we are a store in Colorado Springs. We are open 6 days a week. We are closed on Mondays. And we're open 11 to 8 on those days, unless it's Sunday at 6 o'clock. Christmas hours after Thanksgiving are about to start, so we'll be open an hour earlier at 10 a.m. And yes, we will have some Black Friday specials, so you'll want to be here that weekend after Thanksgiving. You can check out us on socials, not only nerdstalgia.shop as our website, but that's a link where you can get to any of them, but Nerdstalgia Shop, whether it be TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or right here on YouTube. Like, subscribe. I've become one of the like, subscribe guys. It really does help us out, though. But we do this podcast to talk about the store, and we invite customers in to talk about what they're nerdy about. Today, I have John. And John, welcome.
Glad to be here. Yeah. It's an awesome store.
Thank you. We've talked in store a few times, coming in. This is actually, you're going to be the first, customer that I didn't know before we opened. So you're my first, I got to know you through the store, and you've come in a few times over the couple months we've been open.
Yep, and we end up standing here for about an hour, just talking about random stuff.
Yeah, well, nerds like to talk about what they're
absolutely.
nerdy about. It's kind of the point of the podcast, is letting people talk about that. And when you get two wrestling fans together, we can talk for a long time, because it's hard to find somebody that'll listen and want to actually talk and engage about wrestling.
Absolutely.
So when you find another fan, you're like, they really do exist.
I'm very much used to looking at my friends while I talk about wrestling. They're like, yeah. Okay, great.
My wife's been a good sport. We've been together for 27 years, and I'm like, when we were dating, I'm available 6 nights a week, but on Mondays I'm busy.
Yep.
And she actually hung out with me on Mondays. So,
hey, you think that's funny? That's how it happened with my brother and sister-in-law. She could not stand wrestling, and now her and my brother, it's every Monday and every Friday they have to be at home.
All right. Monday and Fridays are the big traditional shows. We're here to talk about, if we opened it up to wrestling, we could talk about so many things. So, when I talked to you, I said, let's limit it a little bit more than just wrestling.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we're going to talk about wrestling. But, John, what are you nerdy about?
Here lately, it's been mostly Ruthless Aggression era WWE.
Okay. All right. So, explain what the Ruthless Aggression era of WWE was.
Well, first off, I will preference it with it's WWE era, because Ruthless Aggression started right around the time that WWE was also running the ad campaign of Get the F Out, because they changed from World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah. And for a guy who's been a fan as long as I have, the fact that it's been WWE longer than it's been WWF just blows my mind.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Same. And everybody says that it started right when Vince McMahon is standing in the middle of the Raw ring, just surrounded by the Raw superstars, because this happens right after the brand split, the original brand split.
Yeah.
And he's just standing there, and he says the term Ruthless Aggression 5 times in this 2-3 minute promo.
Vince McMahon way, yes.
Absolutely, because he was trying to hammer that point home, and everybody at home, I'm feeling, is just watching it like, Ruthless Aggression, what is this? And then it does not click until we're at a point of where we're about to see arguably the greatest of all time retire from active wrestling.
Yeah, we're actually shooting this on a Monday night, and I was watching Raw in the store as you were coming in for the shoot, and we watched the promo, and now we'll have to wait to see what happens with Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena.
Dominic is just having this incredible heel run with this title.
Dom is one of the greatest things in pro wrestling in 2025, but that's a whole other topic. So that's when it started.
Yep.
The brand split, and the big stars of the Attitude Era were Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And both of them were at the end of their career. The Rock's run was really short as a full-time wrestler.
No, absolutely.
Big, bright star. And really, Austin's run wasn't super long on top, but, man, his run was... Nobody's been hotter.
I mean, and I still feel that both of them got their, final, their big payoff of their entire rivalry was during the Ruthless Aggression era, because it was WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
And, my brother, me and him will argue all the time. I say WrestleMania 17 was the greatest. He says WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
I'm a TLC guy. He's very much the seeing the end of the Rock and Stone Cold.
Okay.
And, but just any era like that, you have to have the older generation have to essentially, I don't want to say step aside, but they have to have either the end of their storyline just so that the next set can go.
Yeah. Austin, physically, he was beat down.
Oh, absolutely.
He, hard road up, territory system, then the neck break with the match with Owen Hart.
Yep.
And then, he had his years on top, but he had to go down for surgery, came back, and he knew it was the end at WrestleMania 19. So as he was going down for that, The Rock was heading off more full-time for Hollywood. Vince McMahon was looking for the next big stars. So that's kind of where that Ruthless Aggression era began.
Yeah. And they were looking for people that they weren't looking at the person that everybody was trying to say, oh, this is your next guy and all that. They wanted that guy that was going to step up and just look at him like, it's me.
Yeah.
And then that's when you see people that you never really thought you'd ever see as champion, or not anything more than a mid-card champion or anything. And I hate to say that because Eddie Guerrero is one of the greatest of all time.
Yep. Yeah.
But
if you look at WWE and WWF, you had to be a big guy. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were still Bret Hart was still 6'2", 240, 250 pounds. He's not a little guy. But to think somebody like a Mysterio, Guerrero, somebody like that could be in a world title picture was a little unheard of at that time.
Yeah. And you look at the way that champions happened in the Ruthless Aggression era, where, like you said, you see people like Eddie Guerrero step up and win the title. You see Ray, sadly, after Eddie passed, win the title. And that, seeing stuff like that is what led to, eventually, you got to see people like Jeff Hardy win the WWE title. You got to see, I don't think you see CM Punk in today's era as champion without Eddie Guerrero being able to hold it first.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So you had to have, and to give Eddie Guerrero the nod over somebody like Brock Lesnar. Now, this was Brock giving his notice and leaving the WWE at the time. Another reason why they're looking for a new star, new stars to step up. So when would you say that when was the speech that you referenced?
So that would have been around, I believe, June 2002.
Okay, all right. So that would have been smack dab between WrestleManias 19 and 20?
I do believe so.
Yes. All right, yeah, sounds right. Because, as Cena came out, he wasn't at WrestleMania 20 at a match. Or no, WrestleMania 19. So it actually been before WrestleMania 19. Yeah. Between 18 and 19.
And it could have been, actually, now that I think about it,
because 20 is where
was Cena's first
world
Mania
title.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So that would have been, okay, that years are hard. Put me between Manias and I can talk eras. So
absolutely.
between WrestleMania 18, 19, that makes sense. Because, yeah, he still had Brock on his way up. Cena. All right, so the big name for the Ruthless Aggression era is pretty obvious. It was John Cena. So
I was going to joke and say Edge. No, it was definitely Cena.
Yeah, I mean, you had your Edge, Batista, Kurt Angle still a big star in there until he moved out to TNA.
Oh, absolutely. And then, I mean, you can't talk Ruthless Aggression era without speaking of, like, the original, like, OVW4. Yeah. That was Cena, Brock, Batista, and Orton.
Yeah. And Shelton Benjamin, who doesn't get enough credit in that, too. Because, man, that guy was amazing and should have been on the very tip top. But that's a whole other conversation we can get into.
Definitely deserved way more than mid-card status.
Yeah. Just wasn't the right type of talker for WWE, unfortunately.
Sadly.
But yeah, that was a huge class of OVW, and that's when Jim Cornette was still the trainer of OVW, and I kind of sidebar was just listening to him talk about, they're going over Bleacher Report's list of top 20 wrestlers.
Yes, sir.
In their 20s, and Jim Cornette was going through that, and he's like, man, this is a far cry from when I had Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, like all in a class. So
I mean, that's a complete another like side conversation we could have. It's just Jim Cornette talking trash about John Laurinaitis.
No one talks trash like Jim Cornette.
Oh yeah.
He's got to let go of grudges though.
Yeah. It's gonna lead to
so
an aneurysm.
Set me up. Talk to me. How did John Cena make his first impression, and how does it tie to this Ruthless Aggression era?
So, Kurt Angle's just standing in the middle of the SmackDown ring, and he is essentially throwing out an open challenge. And he is saying that he wants somebody that's going to give him competition, but he's also talking down the crowd, acting like there's nobody better than him at this moment in time.
Peak heel Angle.
And at that point, it was kind of hard pressed to argue that there wasn't anybody better in the ring than Kurt Angle.
Yeah. It's hard to say that there was ever anybody better in the ring than Kurt Angle.
Oh, absolutely. But, and all of a sudden, it was just the regular, like, SmackDown, like, show music just starts playing, and out walks this dude in shiny shorts that you could clearly tell just got a fresh haircut, because I watched the interview also where he was talking about he showed up and they're like, we're going to put you on TV, and Vince is like, go get a haircut. And he walks
just gave
out.
him kind of the military fade, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And it turned out to be essentially his hairstyle for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And he just walks out to that ring, and Angle looks at him and like, what do you have that makes you think that you stand a chance against me? And he copies Vince McMahon. He's just Ruthless Aggression and smacks him.
Yep. Yeah.
And
a rookie standing up to the biggest, baddest dog in the yard.
And he goes out there and he puts on an incredible match.
Mm-hmm.
And in another interview that I recently watched, they're talking about comes out of the ring, goes to the back, and he has this brief conversation with the Undertaker, where the Undertaker is essentially giving him his props,
endorsing him.
And they see this backstage, and they're like, "That's great. Can y'all redo that so we can film it?"
Yep.
And
yeah, because you got the endorsement on screen too. Got the handshake, got the props. Yeah, that's and it wasn't smooth sailing there for John Cena. No. From there, he plenty to talk about his ups and downs until he was the top guy, and even as the top guy, You say the greatest ever, potentially. I was never a Cena guy, so we could get into that. But before we, there's a lot more than Cena to the Ruthless Aggression era. Who were some of the other stars you loved in the Ruthless Aggression?
Well, I mentioned Eddie Guerrero earlier, and so growing up, me and my brother were WCW guys.
Hey.
And that's because...
for context, what year were you born?
I'm 1992.
Okay. All right.
So back in those days when we were watching wrestling, WCW came on at like 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we could...
Because you lived here in Colorado?
I lived in Alabama.
Alabama, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so we could actually watch WCW before we had to be at bed at 8 o'clock. And like it was a family tradition every Monday night. Like to put it in context, my mom made hamburger helper every Monday night. We sat in the living room eating dinner, watching WCW. And I remember being a little kid and I'm watching Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio just going back and forth in these matches, and you see Rey all of a sudden just go up for this huge fly, and then all of a sudden he hits Eddie, but then Eddie's got him in a hold.
Yeah.
Like quick, and it was just that awesome.
It was bringing a style.
Oh, absolutely.
Had existed for years in CMLL and AAA in Mexico. Two of the hottest wrestling promotions in the world right now.
Absolutely.
And funny enough, it's Rey Mysterio's kid is the champion, and I love it. But they were bringing that style to America for the first time on a mid-card level.
Oh, absolutely. And then there was a short period where like me and my brother like stopped watching wrestling as kids.
Okay,
and
it happens.
And it was right around that time that WWE bought WCW, and it wasn't because we didn't want to watch it or anything. It was because we had to. It came on at 8 o'clock. We had to be in bed.
Gotcha.
And so it was right around the start of the Ruthless Aggression era when we learned how to tape the episodes on a VCR. Yep. And so we would tape Monday Night Raw and save it for us to watch the next day when we got home from school. And that's when we started paying attention. But I'd see Eddie Guerrero pop up, and I'm like, this is the same guy that I was watching. Yep. Like and other than the fact he changed his attire and all that, he looked the exact same because he still had the long mullet, still had the goatee or the mustache, and
it developed a lot more.
Oh,
character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he had learned more about being. I tell people all the time that I feel Eddie Guerrero was one of the best people that had figured out how to be not only a babyface, but absolutely how to be a heel.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just because he was just perfect in
he had a hot temper. He could be a heel.
Oh, absolutely. And just seeing the matches that he would put on, whether it was against Rey or with Rey or with Chavo, like we were talking John Cena. One of my early favorite matches with John Cena was his street fight in the parking lot with Eddie Guerrero, where they just had all the cars just surrounding them, and they instead of having like the stage lights and all that, it was the lights from the headlights on the cars.
Yep.
And like I said, you had Eddie, and then you had like Kurt Angle did his best to make himself like a huge name during that time, and he absolutely did. Rather it was him as a wrestler or that weird short time where he was like the general manager of SmackDown.
Yeah, that was some neck problems.
Yes.
For that time, but he was always an entertaining character to have on screen.
And I also feel like in that era, like for anybody that grew up like watching ECW, and occasionally I would be able to catch that because it came on like Fridays and I didn't have to be in bed early enough until my mom saw something get too bloody and she's like, all right, that's coming off. But you got to see this whole other side of like Paul Heyman that you never thought that you would see, because he was always, there was occasionally that he was a heel in ECW and all of that, but for the most part he was there
he was too busy running the show.
He was too busy running the show or yelling at the camera because the network was not treating him the way that he wanted to be.
Yeah, Heyman was, is, and continues to be the best thing in pro wrestling. Without ECW and his contributions to SmackDown, the SmackDown 6 in that Ruthless Aggression era. Let's talk a little bit about the SmackDown 6. It was Eddie, Chavo, because they're all the work rate guys.
Oh, okay.
Edge,
so you had
Mysterio,
Benoit, and then...
Did they throw Chavo into that SmackDown 6? I don't think so.
I think Chavo just kind of got treated in it because he was with Eddie.
Yeah, but...
Because, let's face it, Chavo Guerrero is never... He has an incredible mind for the business, I feel, but he was just...
He didn't have the same charisma.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's hard to come out from the shadow of Eddie.
Yeah.
So, but Chavo's still involved with so many things in wrestling, and it's tremendous to see what he does. Now I think he's working for AAA with WWE again. So he's done a lot of stuff in Hollywood. Pretty much anything in Hollywood wrestling-based is Chavo Guerrero behind it.
I know within the last year and a half, he had a quick little run with TNA.
Yeah? Okay.
Where he wrestled a little bit, but mostly he was a manager for a short-lived team of Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr.
Okay, all right. I wish I had enough time to watch all the wrestling that's out there.
I get bored.
So, plenty of things, and we could talk wrestling and Ruthless Aggression wrestling all night long, but we kind of have to limit how long we talk about these things.
Yes,
so at the store, we can come in and we can talk wrestling of any era anytime you want to, and we have all kinds of cool things for you to look at. One of the things that we talked about was the Mysterios and how Dominic is huge star right now, Intercontinental Champion, at least when we started recording, about to wrestle John Cena.
And hard to believe that his first debut in the company was essentially being the custody battle between his actual father and Eddie.
And that's where he's, he talks about he's got this decade plus in the business, because it all started in that Ruthless Aggression era. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, and Eddie was calling into question the paternity of
one
young Dominic. And currently, we do even have the Dominic Mysterio action figure, the child one. So talk to me a little bit about this storyline, because it was a key one.
So there was this whole thing of Eddie was just telling the story of Rey Mysterio being non-fertile, essentially, and wasn't able to father his own child. So essentially that Eddie was the one that fathered Dominic.
Yeah.
And the whole idea, I don't even know if this is true or not, but I had heard at one time that the initial idea for that ladder match, that instead of there being the custody contract, it was supposed to be Dominic in a shark cage. And I heard that from somebody, or I read it somewhere one time, and I was like, oh, I am so glad that did not happen.
Hey,
poor child.
It helped him grow up into being one of the greatest heels that we have right now. So, Dominic Mysterio, character and an angle that doesn't get more pro wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that little kid, that you could clearly tell, he decided one morning to dye his hair with peroxide, is now the absolute future of this business.
I think so.
Insane.
I absolutely think so. We'd mentioned earlier Kurt Angle. He was the guy that helped John Cena, initially get recognized.
Yes.
He was able to hold his own with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And Kurt Angle, of course, former Olympic gold medalist, 1996 Olympics, legitimate badass.
Won it with a broken freaking
neck. Just amazing. He was part of the early period of the Ruthless Aggression era. Then, ended up having to leave WWE, ended up in TNA, and was their big guy for a lot of years. Their big name that they could have. So we sell action figures. We sell different DVDs. Got a Royal Rumble that was Ruthless Aggression era. This was the year that who won this one?
I do believe that was the year that Rey Mysterio won it.
Rey Mysterio winning the Rumble. He was the second one in, so he ran the whole gauntlet, won that Rumble, went on to WrestleMania, won the World Heavyweight Championship. This undersized guy that never should have done that, and
absolutely
went on to defend against people like Big Show and Mark Henry. So
and the fact that he wins that Mania that year in a triple threat against Kurt Angle and Randy Orton is just absolutely crazy, because it's Angle where he's heading towards his way out the door, essentially, and it's Randy Orton who has already established himself as at that time being the youngest world heavyweight champion of all time.
And put himself in that three-way match and ended up winning it, all in honor of Eddie, who had passed the year before too. So, and you also said, even though it's not Ruthless Aggression, make sure you pull this Rise and Fall of ECW. Tell me why you wanted me to highlight this one.
It is just such a great story, and it none of the guys from ECW that were in there held anything back. They told every story that they possibly could in it, and I feel that ties into the Ruthless Aggression era, because it also led into what I consider one of my favorite pay-per-views of the Ruthless Aggression era. In 2004 with the initial ECW One Night Stand.
That is a fantastic show. I grew up such a fan of ECW, just because I was a punk rock kid.
Yeah.
So you kind of looked for that anti-establishment, and wrestling was a little stale at the time, a little kiddie. And I also, when I broke into wrestling, the Dangerous Alliance was a big thing.
Yes.
So I knew Paulie Dangerously from being Rick Rude's manager and Steve Austin's manager. So when I saw this and saw that Heyman was behind it, I was very intrigued.
Well, even Paul Heyman talks that he went into ECW the first time, and it was still that same kind of almost cookie cutter kind of thing. Because Taz was not Taz then. He was the Tazmaniac, and he painted his face, and you had people like Tommy Dreamer that were coming in there and essentially acting like he was this varsity high school hotshot and all that. And then by the end of it, you've got one of the greatest submission wrestlers of all time in Taz, and you got somebody that just won't die in Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, we could do a whole other show about ECW.
Yeah.
So yeah. The other big collectible that we do, if you're a wrestling fan, we like to carry belts, and I tell you, the belt that many people have a fondness of, and it spins. The WWE Championship, the spinner version. Talk to me a little bit about how this thing worked, and feel free to hold the title.
So, this particular belt, earlier in the Ruthless Aggression era, you see Cena win his first United States title. He wins it off a Big Show at Mania, and I don't remember if it was the next time that they had SmackDown or if it was the week after, but the next time that you saw Cena holding that belt, he let it go and he changed it to the U.S. spinner title. And it was to go with his whole entire gimmick at that time.
hip hop gimmick,
Yep.
and the big thing in hip hop at that time
Spinning
was
rims.
car stops, wheel keeps spinning. I
Yeah.
lived in Texas at the time. That Third Coast Houston rap was banging.
Yeah.
So you had your Paul Walls and Chameleonaires and
So-
your spinning rims. So it was a Conan idea. If you didn't know that, Conan, because he's always been one on top of like what's cool in wrestling, and gave him the idea to do a spinner belt.
That absolutely does not surprise me, coming from a guy that let everybody affectionately call him K-Dog.
Yeah. He passed it through Mysterio,
Yeah.
and that's how the U.S. title.
So, next Mania, Cena wins his first WWE title. Wins it off of JBL, who at that time was the longest reigning SmackDown champion of all time.
Yes, an underappreciated run. Fantastic.
It took me many years to
It
appreciate
did me
to
too.
be honest.
It did me too.
I
love
remember
the guy
being
now.
a kid, no, it's just like, you took the APA and you put the belt on the guy that was not
Yep.
Farouk.
then you grow up and you get it and you go, that was genius.
Absolutely. And it goes with the whole idea of the Ruthless Aggression era, is the fact that he stepped up and he's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But he wins the belt, and the next week on SmackDown, he does essentially the same thing. He's like, I like this title, I'm so proud to have it, but this is mine.
Yep. Yeah. So it was all about having his signature on the championship, and then it was defended quite a bit, and then when somebody else would win it, it would lock in place. My favorite was when the Miz had it.
Yeah.
Put it in the upside down in the M lock position. So
I love the version of it, and it looks so corny and all that. But the version when Edge won it the first time and took the W out of it and put the rated R logo.
Yep. Yeah, actually, the belt maker sent me videos of that. So, if there's a title that we have, you can buy it. But if there's one that you want, we can get it.
There you go.
So, nerdstalgia.shop, hit us up. So, that's some of the product that we have when it comes to wrestling. I mean, obviously, you can see a lot more product behind me. Large section for that. So, when I said, let's talk about wrestling, and let's try to pick a specific era of wrestling. Why did you choose Ruthless Aggression? What was it about that era?
So, I tell people all the time that wrestling is what has kept me and my brother together all of these years. We're twins. We've been with each other every day since the day that we were born, essentially. And wrestling was the one thing that him and I could agree on.
Okay.
And it might not be the current aspect of what's going on in wrestling, because we disagree about storylines all the time.
Sure.
But it's the one thing that we have always bonded over.
That's awesome.
And Ruthless Aggression, to me and him, like, we know about the Attitude Era. We love everything about it and all that. But Ruthless Aggression is where
You lived it.
we lived it.
Yeah.
We, like I said, we got to see Cena call out, or say Ruthless Aggression. We got to see the weird random storylines that were going on, because we got to see the fact that SmackDown for a little bit there, that was the wrestlers show.
Yes.
That was
when
the
Heyman
show.
was on there, the SmackDown 6, you had, absolutely.
That was the show where they would have storylines that were going on and all of that, but they let the wrestling tell the storyline.
Yeah.
I saw.
Well, that, in between, custody battles for
Yeah, exactly.
settled by ladder matches.
Yeah. We were speaking Eddie Guerrero. There was that whole thing when Angle was the general manager for that short time, that he was trying to say that Eddie wasn't a viable champion for him, and it was doing everything that they could to try to get that belt off of him.
Yeah.
And it's the era that you see, I think, arguably the best heel run out of Triple H.
Yeah. I think a lot of the booking ideas that he started to come up with and utilize, he had some power then.
Yep.
There was one, especially I remember, because he took an old Harley race story.
Yes.
Where he was going to put a bounty on Goldberg's head, anybody that could put him down before their title match, and he even had the Harley race chops at the time.
Yes, he did.
Learning that he was such a Harley race fan, you saw that he was booking a lot of that, and what led to him, being the
that weird short time that he was wrestling in biker shorts.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
weird.
Yeah, there's, I think mixed emotion on, but it's always interesting to hear from your perspective because you are younger than I am.
Yeah.
So, to me, we just come out of the Attitude Era, and this wrestling just wasn't as good.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, the wrestlers, I was a big Benoit guy until, he was not around anymore. But his work, Eddie, Mysterio, Edge, Angle, Lesnar, while they had him, I mean, the matches were tremendous. Really liked Undertaker in this era.
Absolutely.
I really liked the Undertaker in the Ruthless Aggression era.
I mean, especially that ladder match he had on Monday Night Raw for the title against Jeff Hardy.
Yes. His matches with Angle when he actually, the Undertaker started wrestling.
Yes.
And he started becoming more of a versatile performer than just a character. I really enjoyed that because I didn't like The Undertaker before that.
I mean, and towards the back end of the Ruthless Aggression era, that's when you start seeing people like CM Punk stepping up and coming into the company.
Yep.
You see John Morrison leave from being a tag team wrestler to becoming for their company, one of the great mid-carders that they had at that time. Kind of feel that he should have at least got a couple of matches for the upper title. Should he have won it? I don't know. But
yeah, there's people had their reasons, and I tend to side with them on why he didn't get the push. But to me, Morrison, did he ever look like he was in a fight?
No.
It was always very pretty and it was exciting, but that Cody Rhodes, that Sami Zayn fiery babyface comeback, that's what you have to be a main event babyface, and he never had that.
And I also feel that in the Ruthless Aggression era we had more innovation as far as matches.
Yeah.
And all that, because
talk to me about a couple of those.
I mean, that's where we get Money in the Bank. That's now a yearly pay-per-view. Back then, it was just a match on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
We get the Elimination Chamber.
Yes. By way of Eric Bischoff as GM, which, God, I love Eric Bischoff. He is a business hero.
Man, it took so long for me to appreciate him.
Yeah.
Because
he's my business hero, man. I've learned a lot from Bischoff over the years, his books and his podcast.
Question: how do you feel about Vince Russo?
I am not a Russo guy.
Nobody should be. It's the one thing me and Jim Cornette will ever agree on, I think.
I love hearing other people's love of the different eras because we all experience it at different times of life, and we hold on to that experience, and it's usually that thing that really got you cemented in as a fan. For me, it was that old WCW. I love War Games because I remember Sting Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance. So
yes.
That was that was what made wrestling cool, so that's what I always love.
So that match is before my time.
Yeah.
But I have also went back and I have watched that match.
Fantastic stuff.
And the fact that, I mean, WWE does War Games now and all that, but that is the only match I feel that you see every other company do. Occasionally you'll see people AEW does it all the time. They'll do some kind of casino ladder match, and it's essentially Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And all that, but everywhere else, except for AEW, because they call it Blood and Guts, which that's happening Wednesday.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, it's still War Games, no matter what. I mean, although
Lethal Lockdown and TNA, there's branding.
Lethal Lockdown.
Yeah.
So great.
So, if somebody wanted to get into that era and learn more, how would you recommend they start?
I would start with WrestleMania 19.
Okay.
For the simple reason of that is the WrestleMania that, even though Ruthless Aggression is already kind of starting around then and all that, but that is I feel the only Mania that it's more...
It's the transition show.
It's that transition, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just, like I said, it has some of your stars that are about to be massive in the Ruthless Aggression era, but you also get that ending of arguably one of the greatest feuds in wrestling history.
Yep. A couple of big ones there. I mean, a couple of big feuds. You had Hogan and McMahon at that WrestleMania. Not only Rock and Austin. Some great tag team work. I remember Eddie and Chavo in a 4-way tag match that was excellent. If nothing else, just watch the main event and watch what can happen if you don't nail a move just right. What a moment as a wrestling fan, knowing that that wasn't supposed to happen, and how they scrambled for a finish.
Yeah.
There's also some great documentaries. Peacock has a lot of the documentaries where you can check out Ruthless Aggression.
They have a whole series that's just Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
And we were speaking of Cena. There's an entire episode just dedicated to the rise of John Cena.
Yeah. So, easy to learn more. You have to have like 17 different apps to watch it or learn about a VPN. That's the way to go.
Yeah, you keep trying to talk me into getting a VPN.
Hey, makes me nothing. It saves you money.
That's true.
So, I appreciate you, John, stopping by to talk wrestling with me, because I could do this every night of the week. So, hopefully we had some people that enjoyed it that'll comment below, talk about their favorite Ruthless Aggression era wrestler, match, card, and give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a visit. Citadel Mall, Colorado Springs, Tuesday through Sunday, downstairs from the food court. It's a big mall. It's a mall. There's lots of empty spots, but there's some really cool ones out here. So malls are they're different in 2025, but we're a vintage store, and we like to be in a vintage place. So come check us out. Until next time, thanks.